Hello everyone, this is Tom Fox and I'm the Compliance Evangelist. I'd like to welcome you to my January 2018 podcast series of 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program. But first, a word about this month's sponsor, Conversant. Conversant brings a different kind of ethics and compliance solution to your organization. These days, business success demands something different, a corporate culture centered on integrity and ethical behavior. Conversant provides your teams with a centralized platform and automated processes that connect your business goals with your ethics and values. The result, a highly strategic program that drives ethics and values to the center of your business. Through the use of the Conversant Ethics Cloud platform, it gives you the choice of what you need according to your compliance program maturity. As your compliance program progresses on its ethical journey, Conversant can meet the needs of your requirements with unified ease of use and all of your ethics compliance data in one place, increasing transparency and efficiency while reducing cost. If you have been following me over the past year, you know that I have gone on a one-year exploration of various components of a best practices compliance program. However, during this exploration, there were two very important documents released by the Department of Justice relating to a best practices compliance program. In February 2017, there was the Evaluation of Corporate Compliance Programs document, and in November 2017, there was the announcement of the new FCPA Corporate Enforcement Policy. Therefore, in this month of January, I'm going to lay out for you what should go into your best practices compliance program based upon the 10 hallmarks of an effective compliance program and these two documents. Over the next 31 days, I will be exploring the best way to more fully operationalize a compliance program using the most recent DOJ resources. I hope you will join me for the full 31 days as we engage in an exploration to a more effective compliance program. 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program is a part of the Compliance Podcast Network. Day 4, operationalizing compliance into the middle and the bottom. The evaluation of corporate compliance programs makes clear the company must have more than simply good tone at the top. It must move compliance down through the organization from senior management down to middle management and into its lower ranks. This means it's one of the tasks of any companies, including its compliance organization, is to get middle management to respect the stated ethics and values of a company. Because if they do so, this will be communicated further down through the organization. Even when a company does all the right things at the senior management level, the real issue is whether or not the culture has embedded itself in the middle and lower management. A company's culture is reflected in the values and beliefs that exist throughout the company. To fully operationalize your compliance program, you must find a way to articulate and then drive the message of ethical values and doing business in compliance with such anti-corruption laws as the FCPA from the top down throughout your organization. What should the tone be in the middle? That is, what should middle management's role be in a company's compliance program? The role is critical because the majority of company employees work most directly with middle rather than top management, and consequently, they will take their cues from how middle management will respond to a situation. Moreover, middle management must listen to the concerns of the employees. Even if middle management cannot affect a direct change, it is important that employees have an outlet to express their concerns. Therefore, your organization should train middle managers to enhance listening skills in the overall context of providing training for their manager's toolkit. This can be particularly true if there's a compliance violation or other incidents which require some form of employee discipline. Most employees think it is important that there be organizational justice so that people will believe that they will be treated fairly. Without organizational justice, employees typically do not understand outcomes, but if there is perceived procedural fairness, an employee is more likely to accept a decision that they may not like or even disagree with. Even with great tone at the top and in the middle, you cannot stop there. One of the greatest challenges for a compliance practitioner is how to affect the tone at the bottom. One of the things you can do is assemble a compliance focus group to find out how business is done in the field and if it differs from what your company expects from an ethical and compliance perspective. You can create a compliance focus group and use that group of employees who are familiar with doing the challenges of doing business in a compliant manner in certain geographic regions to discuss the challenges of doing business ethically and in compliance. Ask questions of these employees about the understanding of your compliance regime. After you get some answers, categorize those responses into two separate categories, one theory and one practice of compliance in your company. And note the difference. Is compliance treated differently from the way it's laid out in your written standards? So then you need to develop some tests to test what's real in theory and what's in practice. You can check to see which employees are promoted regularly, those who do business ethically and in compliance, or those who simply meet their sales quotas every quarter for a number of years. What about your third parties? Are they following their contractual requirements? Are their certifications in place? After you've done these tests, reassemble your compliance focus group and have them consider the beliefs that were articulated by them in the context of your compliance model and how lead a discussion that attempts to identify what, if any, is different in practice and theory. Then you can move from theory to practice to operationalizing compliance. Finally, test the final results. Test how more to fully operationalize compliance. These tests can be accomplished in the regular course of business or through a special project with a special team and budget. Agree on the testing process and review your testing assumptions throughout the process. By engaging employees at this level, you can not only find out what employees think about the corporate compliance program, but you can use their collective experience to help design a better and more effective compliance program. Employees want to do business in an ethical manner. Given the chance to engage in business the right way as opposed to cheating, this will win the hearts and minds of your employees almost all of the time. By using this protocol, you can not only find out the effect of your company's compliance programs on employees at the bottom, but you can also affect them as well. Employees often look to their direct supervisor to determine what the tone of an organization is and what it will be going forward. Many employees of a large multinational organization never have direct contact with a CEO or even senior management. By moving the values of compliance through an organization into the middle and down to the bottom, you will be in a much better position to inculcate your corporate values and operationalize compliance throughout. So what are today's 3 key takeaways? Well, number 1, tone at the tops. My friend Vanessa Rossi, also a compliance officer at Baker Hughes, a GE company, often says that direct supervisors have the most important influence on people in their companies. So it's who you directly report to who influences you. People are going to look to not only senior management, but in many ways, more often middle management and perhaps even lower management. So train those people. 2, give your middle managers a toolkit around compliance so they can fully operationalize compliance when they interact with their employees. And finally, number 3, never forget organizational justice. I think of all the ways to more fully operationalize compliance at the bottom. Organizational justice is number 1. This means that not only do you have a fair process doctrine, but you treat people fairly. You don't discriminate, and you apply discipline consistently. But it also means things like in promotions, that employees who actually do the right thing, engage in doing business ethically and in compliance, will be promoted, and it will not simply be the man or woman who makes their numbers every quarter. This is Tom Fox. I hope you've enjoyed day 4 of 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program, and I hope you'll join me tomorrow for day 5. This is Tom Fox again. Thank you for listening to this episode of 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program, sponsored by Conversant. I hope you will join me tomorrow and indeed for the entire 31 days in January while I will be exploring the best way to more fully operationalize your compliance program using the most recent resources the Department of Justice has communicated to us, the evaluation of corporate compliance programs, and the new FCPA corporate enforcement policy. This is Tom Fox. Thank you again for listening. 31 Days to a More Effective Compliance Program is a part of the Compliance Podcast Network.